Hi, welcome to Support Life, a program that focuses on current social issues from a life-affirming perspective. I'm Rebecca Cordina, your host, and today we have Michele Brine. Hi, Michele.
Hi Vic.
So tell me a bit about your family.
Well, I was born in Melbourne and I'm one of 8 with 23 nieces and nephews.
So what was it like growing up?
Oh, it was lovely growing up here. And when I was 6, we moved up to Canberra, because Dad was part of Department of Air, and they moved Department of Air up to Canberra, Hollis Bolus, everyone up there. And I grew up in Canberra, which was a big country town then. This was before the lake. And I can remember looking out the dining room window one morning, and there were sheep grazing. But everyone looked after everyone else there, and it was a lovely atmosphere. It was a nice place to grow up in.
So something happened to you when you were 14 years old. Tell me about that.
Yes, I was in the swimming pool learning to swim, and I had a fit. I'm an epileptic, and one of my sisters said, "Why is Michele going up and down with a funny look on her face?" And they found out that I had grand mal epilepsy, and the main annoyance I found growing up was that I couldn't go to dances because of the strobe lights, and I couldn't go on very long walks because I'd get too tired. But apart from that, everything was pretty normal.
So you went through high school, and then you went to a couple of different universities.
Yes, I went to the Canberra College of Advanced Education for a couple of years, and then I went to what is now the Australian Catholic University, but it was called Signadu then. I finished a teacher's college. I finished off my teacher training there.
So what were some of your difficulties that you came up against in your teacher training in your first year of teaching?
Well, some of the principal didn't understand with the epilepsy how I could be a teacher, and she put me on a probationary period. But at the end of the year, she was really pleased with me, so they passed me, gave me my certificate, and she really welcomed me. So everything was fine.
So in your travels, as you've gone about teaching and making friends, you met some interesting people along the way. Tell me about them.
Yes, I went to this place called a coffee shop, and I met some actual Christians there who were really alive and dynamic and full of fun, and so because of them, I joined a prayer group, their prayer group which they had there, and it was really good because I was baptised in the Spirit, and went up to a conference up in Sydney, and
unfortunate thing happened when you went to that conference.
Oh yes.
What happened?
Yeah, that's right. There was a lady there who said, "Oh look, Michele, you're healed. You're miraculously healed. Throw away your medication." And foolishly, I listened to her, and I did that. And of course, I became very sick and ended up in hospital. So I gave away the charismatic movement, which was a pity because I was really enjoying it.
So your mum got you along to something that started your passion for what you have to today.
Yeah, that's right. In 1983, I went. Both of us went to a pro-life demonstration, and it was really good because it gave. I realised then the defenceless people, how important it is to stand up for anyone, whether they're young or old, who's in a it could be a nursing home, or it could be, you know, a young kid at school who's been bullied, or a young, you know, a baby who obviously can't stand up for themselves.
So you felt like you had to do something and get involved. What was that?
Well, apart from selling tickets for Cordina House, which is a pro-life pregnancy support house in Canberra, I also gravitated after a few years towards the Legion of Mary, and we'd say the rosary outside an abortion clinic in Canberra, which was interesting because you'd get a few funny looks from people and a few odd comments, but some people would be interested. And it also led me to my other real main passion, which is prayer. I firmly believe that prayer has to undergird everything. Without prayer, you're basically up the creek.
Thank you for that. We're just going to a break now. You're watching Support Life. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Support Life. I'm Rebecca Cordina, and our guest is Michele Brine. Welcome back, Michele.
Oh, thank you, Beck. Hi.
So before the break, we were talking about the Legion of Mary and how they pray a lot.
Yes, yeah, they do. It's lovely. Yep, and we also visit nursing homes, and we're also part of the adoration here at St Benedict's, and we also visit, especially Carol and Hugh, we visit people who are sick in the parish, and support the parish priest, and I'll help out with cups of tea and that. Anything which needs doing.
So your work in Canberra as a teacher, that was flourishing, was it?
Well, I was a relief teacher, and I also did some part-time tutoring. And I loved that, and then I went up to Darwin, and I tutored Indigenous kids for 4 years at a college up there, and I loved that. They were very responsive. They're a joy to teach, Indigenous kids, I found. They were funny. They'd say, "Oh, miss, do we really have to be here?" I'd say, "Yes." But they were very open, and they were, you know, and they'd get on with it. I used to, having Jeffrey Garamal or some music there used to really help them concentrate, I'd find.
So your time in Darwin, it sounds like you've had such a great time, but you had difficulties as well.
Yes, yeah, that's right. There's only one neurologist for the whole of the Northern Territory, and I had a fit, and the doctor there said, "Oh, Michele, you really need to see a neurologist." And I could speak to my neurologist on the phone, but it wasn't enough. So I came down here. Besides, I was missing my family. I mean, Darwin is a bit isolated sometimes. So I love Melbourne, which is really good.
So all your family is in Melbourne?
Most of them, yeah, that's right. Yes, I've got four siblings here, 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and I've got a sister and a brother in Canberra and a sister in Sydney.
And how many nephews and nieces?
23 nieces and nephews. One nephew is married, and he's got a little baby boy in England, London, and he's loving it over there. And the rest are here in Australia, which makes it a lot easier with cards and presents and seeing them.
So being back in Melbourne and having your family around you and getting your epilepsy back under control, how was that?
Well, that's okay, but it's taken up a bit of time. I haven't had a chance to really do tutoring, to get back into tutoring at the moment, but I hope to in the future.
And you found a group in Melbourne also that gave you lots of support and encouragement.
Yes, I've belonged to the Disciples of Jesus community since 2001. I joined them in Canberra, and they were also in Darwin, which was good. And now they're in Melbourne, and I've found them to be very welcoming, and there's a depth of worship here, which is lovely. And we've gone on picnics, and for example, I just went on a women's breakfast, and there's a women's retreat coming up, and there's games, and there's a film night occasionally, and we just have a DVD or something at someone's place. But I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, they're a lovely community to belong to.
So the Disciples of Jesus community, there's families and singles, and you're telling me religious life.
Yes, the MGLs, the Missionaries of God's Love, brothers, sisters and priests. They're a new order. They were founded in 1975, I think, by an Australian priest, Father Ken Barker.
So the MGLs, they work with young people and in nursing homes. That is it's very similar to what you're doing.
Yes, but I'm attached to the parish church. I'm just part of the DJs, Disciples of Jesus.
And so through the parish you go out into nursing homes?
Yes, go out into nursing homes. We visit the sick.
So you sit and have a chat to the people at the nursing home, but what else do you do?
Well, as I'm a Eucharistic minister, I can give out communion to the people, and I love doing that. They're very eager to have communion usually, and it's the only chance of being involved in the parish sometimes. They get very lonely sometimes, very naturally, because some of them, they don't see their family all that often, and so it's a chance to see someone and to feel connected to their old parish.
And so the St. Benedict's parish, what other things do you do to help out?
Well, I help out in children's adoration, which is it was started by a French priest, I think. It's a lovely idea where the deacon or priests take the kids, take the children of the for every week or so, and just go through the gospel. Some people have it on a felt board and just explain it. While the priest reads the gospel, they explain it in pictures to the kids, and he also the priest blesses the children with the host, with the monstrance, and they just get to pray to Jesus, and it stands with them because when they're older, they'll get used to praying to Jesus, and they often drop by the church too when they're older.
That's so good, but we have to go to a break now. You're watching Support Life. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Support Life. I'm Rebecca Cordina, and our guest today is Michele Brine. Hi, Michele.
Hi Beck.
So we're talking about the children's adoration, and how beautiful it is for them to be more hands-on with the Bible, and they can see that the adoration's there and what the adults are doing.
That's right, it's very important, yeah. And the fact that they just get time to get to know Jesus and, to really reflect.
So you're volunteering with the nursing homes and then with the children's adoration. How does that promote life-affirming values?
Well, it gives children, especially with children's adoration, it gives them, if they build up a relationship with Jesus, it gives them a sense of hope. Then they can see people it gives them a different perspective on things, and they can see people with through a pro-life perspective, I guess you'd see, and they can also see old people then through the culture of life, not the culture of death perspective, and hopefully that will stay with them all through their life.
We were speaking before about that need for prayer and how important it is. Tell us more about that.
Well, before you start anything, as St. Benedict said, you have to pray. For example, with the abortion, I think we used to always pray the rosary, and people's hearts were actually changed. They'd decide not to have an abortion, perhaps. I had a lady up in Darwin. They used to, she and someone else, we used to go out and pray the rosary at the hospital there. People would often stop and decide not to have an abortion, and I believe that was through the power of prayer. Or we'd just pray the rosary before the Blessed Sacrament.
In your teaching, like with your one-on-one, especially one-on-one teaching, how does that really promote that culture of life and the new perspective?
Well, so many kids are locked into a certain way of thinking. They might think that maths is all boring, or their parents or their teacher might think that they can't do it. But once they have some tutoring, it's amazing. Their skills increase, and all their subjects, their capacity to do other subjects increases. And so their self-esteem changes. And so hopefully they'll, once they've been given hope themselves, they can see how someone else's life can change, and they'll their attitude towards disabled people hopefully will change, and anyone with a they won't limit people.
And how do you encourage people around you?
In whatever way I can, a smile, a joke. Sometimes people just need to be listened to.
What difference does that make, listening to someone who's a bit lonely?
Well, it makes them feel good about themselves, I think, if someone else cares about them and their story.
Forming these great relationships, how has that enriched your life?
Well, you feel really valued yourself, I guess.
Is there a lot of people wanting to be visited, like in nursing homes?
Oh, in nursing homes there are, yes, because in our society there's a tendency to just place people in nursing homes and forget about them. Which is, I mean, some people are very good. They come and see their relatives almost on a daily basis. Some people do, but others just put them there and forget it, and don't. Or they come for 10 minutes on a Sunday. And the poor people are so lonely. They're very you know, and they really need someone there because the staff are very busy and they just don't have the time, you know, to give to the people. So, and they've apart from being run off their feet, they just don't have, you know, they're underpaid, and their jobs are being cut, so there aren't many staff around at all. So we should be really looking at the way we pay them and support them, because they're doing a wonderful job for us.
And what are the other things that the other volunteers are doing in the nursing home?
Well, when I was there recently, there was a lady who brings her dog in, and the people love it. I've noticed other nursing homes do it, and they've been doing it for years. But also she brings her sketch pad in, and she's an artist, and she draws the people, and they think it's wonderful to be a subject. But so any sort of activity like that, I think, is wonderful.
What are some other things that you've done that has really encouraged those life-affirming values?
Well, when I was in Darwin, I was part of the St Vincent de Paul group, and we went into the women's prison there, and I loved going into the prison there. It was really good. We just sit and talk to the girls and give them clothes and that. I guess it gave them hope. You know, it was good for them. It gave them a break from their daily routine.
So in your volunteering, you've met other people from different groups, and how are they in those different groups supporting the values of life?
Well, St Vincent de Paul runs a program through its Young Vinnies program where they go from Melbourne for 2 weeks every year up to an Indigenous community, and they live in that community.
As you see other people doing all different things, how important is that witness to other people?
Well, I think it's life-changing. For example, even something, there are many groups now, even the number of schools now that have sleepovers for St Vincent de Paul, they, you know, to raise money for poor people. I think that just started with some politician doing it once, and now it's just spread like wildfire, and so the kids are just learning, you know, that there's someone else out there who needs their help, you know, homeless people or something. So it's really good.
Thank you, Michelle, for your lovely words and sharing your life with everyone.
That's okay, Rebecca.
You're watching Support Life, and that's all for our program today. Join us again next week. Goodbye.